Welcome back to Speed, where Are You Faster Than a Redneck will premiere Friday night following the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race. It's punks versus rednecks with $10,000 on the line in every episode. Are You Faster Than a Redneck, hosted by comedian John Reep, who joins us inside the Hollywood Hotel. Thank you so much. Tell us about the show.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna love it. It's basically, I got a group of rednecks. I call them a mullet mafia.
Okay.
These guys are hardcore American muscle car enthusiasts, and we challenge this younger generation who loves like import foreign cars to a race.
They're the
on a
punks,
track.
right? They're the punks.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. We call them punks. And it's a real race, 3 laps, winding track, door to door, and there's a series. There's 3 rounds, and if the punks win all 3 rounds, they get $10,000.
The thing I wonder about it, did you have any kind of like unexpected moments throughout this whole deal?
Yeah, a couple.
Anybody really act like a redneck?
Oh, yeah, it wasn't acting. These guys, these guys are rednecks. And well, day 1, we were shooting this thing. There was a little rubbing that went on in one of the turns. And, you know, you don't do that to these rednecks. These guys love their cars. They put all their money and life into this thing, and they smack him right in the face. Hey, boom! That's what you get, son.
I do that to Jeff Hammond inside the Hollywood Hotel every day.
Look, don't be telling our secrets. Okay?
But you're a NASCAR fan as well. Grew up in NASCAR country in Hickory, North Carolina.
That's right, Hickory, North Carolina. That's how you have to say it. You got to shake your head. You know, that means you're proud. You know, I'm from Hickory, like that. Yeah, I grew up, around NASCAR all the time. I actually worked at a Goodyear for a couple of years with my dad. My dad was a manager of a Goodyear. Made my brother and I work out in the shop, changing tires and oil. And I actually had an uncle who worked. He was like the head mechanic. Yeah. And he was a big chain smoker, and he was trying to teach me how to change brakes one day. And he pulls off the brake drum. Asbestos dust flies out into the air. And I'm not changing a word of this. He looked at me right in the face. He goes, "Get back, stupid. That stuff will give you cancer." He ain't all there. So yeah, I grew up around it and loved it.
Well, I just want you to know that I'm personally offended you didn't call me and invite me to be a part of your deal, because I thought, according to Chris Myers, I'm a big redneck. Okay.
Well,
but you know,
if there's a season 2, your phone will be ringing.
All right, you season 2, you give me a call. But real quick, how about Danica Patrick? What do you think? You think,
I
think
love
she's
it.
got a shot?
Oh, heck yeah.
Is she qualified?
I'm surprised she even raced at all in this thing. You know, I mean, I would have done 1 lap and just sat down and go, just wave at him. You know, I'll see you on Sunday. You know.
You think you let her come out and be a part of your
program?
Oh,
I would love to. Yes. Yes, totally. She's awesome.
We love your enthusiasm. We can't wait to see the show, which we will do tomorrow night,
That's
immediately
right.
following the NASCAR Camping World Truck Race.
And it picks up every Monday
Speed.
after that. Every Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time.
We look forward to more slapping.
That's right.
And all the antics. Don't start with me, Jeff. Jeff Gordon will lead the field to green in the 2nd dual race, and you'll see that next on Speed. Welcome back to Daytona. It's the middle of the day, but we've already seen some fireworks in dual race number 1. You just saw Kevin Harvick was your winner in that race. And now we'll head back upstairs. We'll check in with Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip for their thoughts.
Thanks, Krista. There's a tradition with the Budweiser Duel that if one race is wild, the next one is tame, or vice versa. Last year, 3 cautions in the first dual race, caution-free in race number 2. Darrell, I'm confused. Did we just see the calm race or the wild one?
Well, the finish was fantastic. I really was worried about those guys coming down here to, 3 wide to the checkered flag. We've seen that turn into a disaster. But I think what these guys are going to do, the ones that are in this race, they're going to talk to their teammates. The track was definitely different than it's been for the 2 weeks that we've been down here. So they probably are checking maybe air pressure, a little more wedge or whatever to get the cars to handle a little bit better, because that was the key in that race. Harvick's car handles, so does Biffle's. Larry, you said it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I always like to see my driver in the 2nd duel, because we know this day has been much different than any day we've had here. And, yeah, we can't make major adjustments because our car was already through inspection. But as Darrell said, we can make air pressure adjustments. And I think Danica Patrick said it best. They anticipated that her car was going to be real loose. They tightened it up after practice, saw how hot it was going to be, tightened it up even more, and it was too tight. Harvick's car was loose in the beginning, and that's the reason he was able to come on at the end of that race, because his car tightened up but didn't get too tight where he could turn the steering wheel and the front tires would respond.
So we'll see which way do you go for dual race number 2, which is about to start. Again, Martin Truex's car lost a side window. So that's loss of equipment. He got penalized to the tail end of the lead lap. Makes Michael Waltrip 14th in the first duel. And Scott Speed races his way in as he joins Krista and Jeff.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, Jeff and I like to think that we are energetic, but the energy just went up a notch when Michael walked in the room because you know you're in.
Yeah, that was a tense 60 laps. I'll tell you, we ran those 40 laps or so in a single file line, a foot off the wall, running 200 miles an hour, a foot off the wall with all these other guys around me, and I'm nervous.
Look, you're coming here to this checkered flag right here. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I just knew I needed to survive and not wreck. I didn't really realize that Nemechek was behind me for a spot, which it turned out okay. But, you know, we put ourselves in a position to win the race, it looked like. With that last restart, I was pushing right at the front. I could see clear track in front of me. And, Jeff, when you make all your moves and you do the things you do and you put yourself in a position to win, if it doesn't pan out and you didn't screw up anything, as a race car driver, you just log that as a positive. You say, okay, we put ourselves in that position. We figured out what it was going to take to be near the front at the end, and then it fell apart. Biffle was the reason why it fell apart. Man, his car was so fast, he held off the outside line in the middle. He just held us down until the troops started coming. And boy, when they started coming, I didn't think they were ever going to stop. There was car after car after car.
Yeah, they kept coming. And again, the difference from last year to this year, can you kind of share that with us? I mean, last year it looked like you were going to get in and you had the problem off of pit road, but this year, I mean, totally different result.
It's just it's the Daytona 500, you know. It just it makes me proud that I've been able to race in it a bunch of times and win it a couple times. And you know, there's a whole bunch of people up in Newtown, Connecticut that have something to smile about. If it's only just for a short while on Sunday, their car is going to be racing in the Daytona 500. We're going to raise a lot of money for Newtown for the counseling and therapy that they need to go forward. And just for a short period of time on Sunday, watching the greatest race in the whole world, I hope they can smile for a bit.
Racing for a very important reason. Michael Waltrip is in the Daytona 500. Some guys still waiting to cash in their ticket in dual race number 2. Matt Yoakum is standing by with one of the guys who will be racing coming up very soon.
New team, Krista, new crew chief, 2-time Daytona 500 champion Matt Kenseth, looking for another win in the duel. Did you get a good read on the first duel, Matt?
I'm not sure. I was a little confused, but I do know that having a fast car is always important. Our Dollar General Camry's been really fast all week, and you know, watching Kevin and Greg there too both did a great job of putting their car in the right position at the right time. So I thought it was an interesting race. I'm looking forward to getting rolling here and you know, seeing what we got.
All right, handling an even more important issue because the temperatures continue to climb.
I don't really know the answer to that question. I didn't see anybody really. It didn't look like anybody was really handling bad. I don't know if they were or not. It just seemed like it was more. To get your car in the right place and get enough other cars to get in that spot with you so you can get that line moving a little bit.
Steve?
Hey, Matt, we caught up with Clint Boyer. Now, Clint, you were very reluctant to practice yesterday. What did you learn watching the first duel?
Well, you know, not really a lot. I saw that outside obviously prevailed at the beginning, but then as the tires wore out or whatever, the race wore on, the bottom started coming in. I learned that Michael made me very nervous up there. Michael, I know you're watching this. Man, I thought you were going to get past. I was like, go, go, go. But that's what's so much fun about Daytona. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, they got strung out there, and about the time you're like, well, uh-oh, we're in trouble. They're 3 wide again going for it, you know, at the end, and it's a wild, crazy finish. It's just, I love this place, man. It's so much fun to compete here.
Well, see, you did learn.
Well, I don't know exactly. Yeah, of course, you're always learning. I haven't learned how to get to the lead yet. I mean, obviously, Harvick positioned himself pretty well there. 2 tires look like the right thing to do there on your pit stop. But you never know when a caution's going to come out. Hopefully, you just hope that you're not in the caution.
So you learned that, too.
Yes, don't be in a caution.
Let's go to Hermie.
Well, thank you, Steve. Got Daytona 500 champion Jamie McMurray. Not sure if you'd rather be in a race with your teammate, Juan Pablo, or not, but he made a pretty good charge at the end of that first duel. What did you guys learn that maybe help you in the second one?
Yeah, he did a great job. Their car, I guess, was really tight at the beginning and just seemed like he couldn't get in the right line. And then at the end, he did a tremendous job to get on the bottom. And I mean, you think you got a shot to win when you're that close at the end of one of these races. I don't know that teammate racing is anything like it was when we had the tandem. And as I watched that first race play out, it looked like the top line was kind of the place to be. And then at the end, all of a sudden, the bottom was. So, man, when you watch one of those, you want to hope that you can learn something, but it just looks like whatever lane has the most cars in it, or the lane the 29 car was in, seemed to be the right place.
Well, that's Jamie McMurray. He'll strap in duel number 2. Krista?
all of those drivers were doing exactly what you were doing, watching dual race number 1 on Speed. Now it's their turn to go racing at Daytona. We will bring you dual race number 2 from the Daytona International Speedway. Your home for Speed next. Back in Daytona, we know a lot of folks in the Midwest are dealing with some nasty weather, but we hope you can escape for a little while on a beautiful day like it is today in Daytona, Florida. You know, Daytona's Speed Weeks continues later tonight with Camping World Truck Series practice here on Speed. Tomorrow, 2 sessions of Sprint Cup Series practice, followed by the Camping World Truck Series qualifying and the race here on Speed. Saturday, we've got the final Sprint Cup Series practice session. Our coverage of Daytona's Speed Weeks leading up to the Daytona 500 continues all weekend long on Speed and Fox. Getting you ready for dual race number 2, there's Danica wishing good luck to Ricky Stenhouse, and they've been talking a lot about their friendship and relationship throughout the Speed Weeks, Media Day, and beyond. But now, of course, the talk has been Danica. She will be on the pole because she kept her car intact. Krista Voda alongside Jeff Hammond, Michael Waltrip. So we saw you race in dual race number 1. So spinning ahead to dual number 2, looked like the high line was the way to go. Oh, nope, maybe the bottom. So what do?
You know what happens when you run high? We were letting off getting into the corner. I was 5 or 6 cars back, and when you go into the corner, you'd roll out of the gas and then get back on the gas and run off. So when you're doing that, if you've got guys that dive to the bottom, the first 6 or 8 of them for a while won't have to let off. So they make all that momentum. I was dying to dive to the bottom because I knew I could pass a few, but if you don't have any help, you can't go down there. The bottom is the way to go at the end if you can get the right help.
Well,
I'm going to say right now, the way this thing's been kind of going, I think there's a lot of pressure on a lot of guys to make it happen. I think this second duel is going to be more interesting and more aggressive than the first.
I think there's still a lot of question marks, and I think that's why it's going to be interesting. We said, Mike said, was that the calm one or was that the wild one? We don't know what we're about to see. The unpredictability is one of our favorite things about this race. Guys like Jeff Gordon, big names, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane will all be racing in dual race number 2. It's time for them to get their command.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, 7-Eleven District Manager, Garrick Carter.
Drivers, start your engine.
What you saw in dual race number 1, well, we've got it for you again. It's dual race number 2 from Daytona. It's a high wire without a net, racing on the high banks. We are racing in Daytona, getting ready for Budweiser Duel Race number 2. Clint Boyer is ready to go. Back inside the Hollywood Hotel in dual race number 1, we saw Patience, a pileup, and Kevin Harvick back in victory lane. So what are we going to see in dual race number 2?
These guys totally went to school. They were watching that high line work, and just when they thought they had it figured out, the high line's where we need to be. Here goes the bottom line making them run. So a lot of questions still to be answered.
Michael, I think the turning point of that whole race had to have been the pit stop. That green flag pit stop right there, 2 tires or 4 tires, and getting on the pit road.
I know 3 other guys who are ready to go. That's Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip.
Well, the first of those questions has been answered. The pole sitter gets his choice of starting on the inside or the outside lane, Darrell, and Jeff Gordon has chosen the outside.
See, he probably wouldn't have done that if he was in the first race, because everybody, based on what they knew about the racetrack, would have said the bottom was the place to be. But because he saw how the top prevailed, he likes that. He's going to start on the outside. That's the advantage of being in the second race. You get information from teammates, and you see what the track's going to do. Big advantage.
Now, Larry, we saw green flag pit stops. If we see them again, you're going to get fuel. You need fuel. Do you want to take tires? And if so, 2 or 4?
Well, we know if we see a green flag pit stop that we have probably less than 20 laps to go. I think the precedent has been set. Green flag pit stop, need a good handling race car. You're going to get 2 tires. The thing I'm going to be interested to watch also, Jamie McMurray talked about it. Teammates, we've got Jeff Gordon and Casey Kane starting there. Richard Childress drivers together. But I'm just not sure it matters the way this car is driving and drafting right now.
Well, we had a wild battle for the final transfer spot. Michael Waltrip at the line and Scott Speed there in the final tally. We expect no less, with Jeff Gordon, 3-time 500 winner and 5-time dual winner, on the pole with Ryan Newman on the outside, or inside rather. Casey Kane and Kyle Busch have each won a Budweiser Duel. They're Road 2. Matt Kenseth, 3-time 500 winner. Last year he won his duel. His replacement in the number 17 nationwide champ, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Paul Menard, top 10 finish in the last 3 Daytona Cup races. And rookie Austin Dillon in row 4. Clint Boyer, his best duel finish of second came 2 years ago. And Jeff Burton, who won a duel race that year. Jamie McMurray, the 500 winner in 2010, and Marcus Ambrose finished 3rd in his duel last year. Mark Martin never won a duel in 28 starts. He's finished 2nd, and Eric Almirola for Richard Petty. David Reagan, the Daytona 400 winner 2 years ago, and Josh Wise. Michael McDowell with Terry Labonte, who won his duel back in 1989. Teammates in row 10, Dave Blaney and J.J. Yaley for Tommy Baldwin Racing. Then Travis Koppel and Mike Bliss in the 11th and final row of this 22-car field.
What do you say we talk to rookie Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Ricky Stenhouse, this is DW. You got a copy there, buddy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, Ricky, looked like the track changed quite a bit from what you guys have been practicing. I noticed Danica came over, stuck her head in the window. I'm sure you talked to Biffle. What are they telling you, buddy?
It just sounds like everybody was getting a little tight there. We saw that when we were down here testing, at least with our best 5-4 Fusion. So hopefully Scott and the guys made some good adjustments there after listening to Greg and Carl. And hopefully we've got this thing freed up so it keeps the speed up around the top. It looked like to be the fastest line there.
You're a 2-time nationwide champion. How does this car drive compared to your nationwide car?
I'll tell you what, DW, it's not too far off other than the horsepower. I mean, I really feel comfortable in this thing and really looking forward to a great 2013 season. I think these cars are going to be great. NASCAR's done a great job with them. I hope the fans enjoy them as much as we do.
No pressure, buddy, but that 17 was pretty successful here, so good luck.
Thank you, Matt. Did a great job here. Hopefully we can have a smooth duel here and on to Sunday.
All right, my friend. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ricky Stenhouse will start 6th. Let's go to pit road. Matt Yoakum.
Mike Ryan Newman starts in the front row. His best finish in the duel was a 3rd the same year in 2008 when he went on to win the Daytona 500. Now remember, Newman told me moments before he climbed inside his race car, this event has a huge impact for Sunday's 500. Why? He lost half the side of his race car during a practice crash, lost a lot of track time. He picked up a few trends watching the first duel, but the biggest thing he says, his car has a lot of speed. He doesn't know how the car will react around other cars. This could be a big, big event for Newman. Steve Burns?
Matt Kenseth has won 2 of the last 4 Daytona 500s. He spent the last 13 seasons at Roush Fenway Racing before moving over to Joe Gibbs Racing. Now, I went to his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe. I said, hey, I heard Matt's been around the shop a lot. Getting ready to know the guys. And he said, yeah, after the 3rd race of the season, we'll never see him again. He jokingly said, the point is, they're off to a great start with their relationship. I asked Matt Kenseth right before he got in the car if he had a game plan. He said, I do. I'm going to go win this race. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Steve, in 2011, Austin Dillon was the Camping World Truck Series champion. 2012, NASCAR Nationwide Series Rookie of the Year, where today he tries to race his way into his very first Daytona 500. And this team is quietly confident after that qualifying speed and drafting practices this week. They think they not only can compete, but contend in the Daytona 500. Mike?
Thanks, Hermie, on the pace lap, getting ready to race here in Daytona. Clint Boyer in that NASCAR commercial says, can I take it for a test drive? He's about to for 150 miles. We listened in on Clint Boyer.
And Harvick was just turning and rolling the center a lot faster than everybody else.
Yeah, he was just slide jobbing like we used to at the old track. Do what we could do, but if there's an open hole, I think we need to get in that top line and go.
Well, that top line sure went when Kevin Harvick was at the head of the line. Otherwise, I'm not sure, Darrell, did we see a whole lot of difference between top and bottom when, say, Trevor Bayne was out front in race 1?
Well, remember, those guys, you know, had that caution and that kind of grouped everybody up, and that made it kind of equalize out, I think. The weather's, I think it's cooled a little bit. Sun's going down, not bleeding on the track like it was. But I love Boyer. I mean, he's one guy outside the car. He's a wild and crazy guy outside the car. When he puts that helmet on, Larry, he becomes a real serious race car driver.
Beautiful day in Daytona Beach. It's going to get warmer as the week goes on. 72 right now. That eclipses yesterday's high. Light breeze, mostly sunny skies.
But the track itself has cooled down about 10 degrees from that first race, and that's just going to give these drivers more grip with their race cars.
I think this is going to be the crazy race. I think those guys watched that first race. Remember, that thing was pretty organized. Nobody did anything crazy. Just the finish was a little bit wild because of the caution and everything. I think this is going to be a little bit crazier race myself.
I think so too, Darrell. We had only one caution, and it was caused by a single car spin. So we didn't have a lot of the bump and run or calamity or side slamming that we might see here.
I think you're right.
And I think this race has some drivers at the back of the field that need to race their way in. They have pretty fast race cars. I think we saw that yesterday in practice.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of good cars at the back of this field that can run fast.
It's a 45-car entry. That means 23 in race 1 and 22 in this Budweiser Duel. The first 15 finishers, not including Jeff Gordon, who's already locked into the 500 on the front row. First 15 finishers, not including Gordon, will transfer into the 500.
But isn't it a kind of different feeling? We're all worried about Danica. You know, don't do anything. Just make sure, you know, bring the car home so you can start on the pole Sunday. Jeff Gordon, we expect him to go out here and win this thing.
And he expects to win.
Yeah.
Now, some drivers know they either have their qualifying speed to fall back on if they don't finish in that top 15. That would be Ryan Newman and Casey Kane. And Clint Boyer and Ricky Stenhouse would be eligible for 2 of the 6 car owner provisionals to make it into the race. For everybody else, you got to race your way in or depend on the fortunes of others. Pace cars in. 60 laps, 150 miles. Green flag. Two by two, no advantage.
Mike, they thundered off down through here, and I was just think Sunday there'll be twice as many guys taking the green flag.
Yeah, when they dropped the green flag, Casey Kane in that 5 gave Ryan Newman in the 39 a little bit of a push, but he got off pretty quick.
But look at this, still no clear leader as they come into turn 3. Out of 4, Newman edged ahead. Here comes Gordon on the outside. And lap 1 of the second Budweiser Duel goes to Ryan Newman, half a car length.
And remember, that's a repaired race car. Had a little problem in practice, and they've done a nice job of putting that car back together.
Boyer next to his ex-teammate, Jeff Burton.
Whoa, man. 5 got a great run. Oh, man, I think Newman must have he must have got a little tight off it, too. Had to get out of the gas, and that's what happens when you lift.
Yeah, he's going to go from leading that first lap all the way back almost outside the top 15. There's a speed difference right there. You can see it's starting to come back now, but he was about 5 miles per hour slower than the rest of the drivers.
Larry, I'm almost sure he got up off of 2 there, and he had to lift a little bit. The car must have gotten either loose or pushed with him, and that really cost him all his momentum.
Newman finally slots in line 16th. 1 spot away from the last qualified spot, now held by J.J. Yaley. At the top of your screen, those green boxes with the position numbers indicates the drivers who right now are in position to make the Daytona 500.
Should be able to run anywhere you want to right now. The tires are new, they're fresh, going to have grip. It's when you wear the tires down, burn a little fuel off, that's when handling becomes an issue.
Mike Bliss onto the bubble spot in 16th as Jeff Gordon leads from Kyle Busch and Casey Kane on the inside. Josh Wise now into the transfer spot. And that transfer spot is 16th because Jeff Gordon is still among the top 16. Should he fall back, 15th would be the transfer position.
Yeah, Mike Bliss in that 19 right there, he has to race his way in. He was next to the slowest driver in qualifying.
And as he goes past Almirola, he is in position to do just that. They are 15th and 16th right now, the 19 and 43. One big tight draft. Jeff Gordon alone, and then it's 2x2 all the way back through 12.
Darrell, watching Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, I was talking to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, last night. And we know, even though he won a lot of races in the Generation 5 car, he was never a fan of it. He has loved this race car, the Generation 6, ever since he stepped foot in it.
Yeah, and Larry, I mean, let's face it, he's on the front row. We know there's speed in that car, and he's using it right now.
Gordon Chevy SS ahead of Bush's Toyota. Kane Chevrolet, Stenhouse in a Ford. And look at that 33, Austin Dillon. Sprint Cup rookie, trying to make his first Daytona 500.
I think what Jeff Gordon wants to do is not have any memories of last year down here because he had a terrible speed week last year.
See Austin Dillon in that 33 car being pushed by his teammate Jeff Burton in the 31. We know the Richard Childress race cars, they have speed. Kevin Harvick's won about everything so far.
Guys, watching this on TV, it looks like this is a parade lap, side by side. Everything's cool. Nobody's pushing anything, right? Well, this is very tense. I mean, they're running 200 miles an hour, and look how Stenhouse is down side drafting off of Casey Kane. That blue car with Best Buy on the hood of it was right against the farmer's car. That's tough sledding right there. You can make a mistake easily. So even though it looks like these guys are chilling, I'm telling you, there's a lot of nerves in those cars right now.
Well, you know, there's no such thing as easy. Easy and a race car do not go together. But let me ask you something. Have you ever played golf with a pro? Have you ever played tennis with a pro? Have you ever tried to hit a fastball? Well, that's what these guys. These are the best drivers in the world, and they make it look easy.
Now that group with Josh Wiles leading that group, Travis Clark, Dave Blaney, all fighting for that last spot. Comes from this 150-lap race. Blaney has it at the moment.
I think the one thing, if these guys at the back learned anything, I believe it would be that first group. Remember how some of them kind of, the draft broke up a little bit and they fell back a ways, but eventually they were able to pull themselves back up to the lead pack. So there's no need to panic just yet.
And right now, drivers like Travis Quapple are in the 500 field. Terry Labonte, Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin in 11th. But they are so close to those next four that Dave Blaney and that number 7 for Tommy Baldwin is right now on the bubble. Jeff Gordon is your leader in the second Budweiser Duel. 11 complete, Jeff Gordon still leading. Tomorrow, the world's toughest trucks hit the high banks for the lid lifter for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, 250 miles wide open. Live from Daytona, 7 Eastern on Speed. Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Austin Dillon, Jeff Burton, 4 Chevrolets lead the pack with 12 laps complete. Hermie?
Yeah, Mike, the 33 car of Austin Dillon has only reported to his crew that he is a little bit free on entry right now while in traffic, and they reminded him that is exactly the same feedback that teammate Kevin Harvick gave about this lap in the first duel. So things are looking pretty good right now for the 33 and Austin Dillon.
Thanks, Hermie. Mike Bliss, the slowest qualifier on time trials in this race, trailing the pack. And NASCAR informs us that the window net in the driver's side window has come down. That is a safety violation. He's going to have to come to pit road to have that reaffixed.
Trust me, you can't put it up. The driver cannot do it by himself. It takes 2 people to put that net back in there.
And we documented, because of his qualifying, the only chance he has of getting in the Daytona 500 is race his way in, and this is really going to put a damper on that.
13 complete.
Best seat in the house right now, Larry, that 24 car. He's looking out his front windshield. He doesn't see anything. He's looking in his rearview mirror, and he sees a teammate. He's a happy camper.
That'll be Casey Kane. Then the Chevrolet Childress teammates, Dylan and Burton. Kyle Busch's Toyota, Marcus Ambrose in a Ford.
How about old Burton? He likes these Daytona and these super speedways, restricted plate tracks. He has an incredible record there on these super speedways.
Ryan Newman's dropped back a bit. That moves Travis Quapple and Dave Blaney to fight it out for the transfer spot at the moment. Steve?
Matt Kenseth's just a little bit loose on entry. This is a tough place to break in a new spotter. He's working with Chris Osborne for the first time down here in Speed Weeks after many years with Mike Kalanoff atop the roof. Kalanoff now with the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse.
Well, based on Kevin Harvick in that first duel, a little loose right now may not be bad. As you can see, they are working to get that window net up on Mike Bliss's 19 car as he's on pit road.
Yeah, Larry, we mentioned as you burn off fuel, you pick up nose weight. Once you pick up a little nose weight and burn off a little fuel, the back of the car comes up a little bit and the car tightens up and you're ready to go somewhere.
Well, Jeff Gordon just ran his quickest lap of the race as he has led from the start, Matt.
Mike chasing his 11th victory in the duel, leading a 9-car breakaway. And Gordon's been very quiet on the radio to his team, but he did tell his spotter, Long Islander Eddie DeHunt, I know at a certain point we're going to have a second group drop down and form another lane. Keep me posted when it happens, and also the momentum shift that also may take place because he can always dive down, but he said it's going to develop, and it's another good learning tool for Sunday.
I just think we're all, this is a different racetrack than we had at the first one. We started the other race at 2 o'clock. Here it is going up to close to 4:30, and the track has cooled dramatically, and that makes a huge difference, right, Mikey?
Daryl, and I'm going to bet you that Kyle Busch starts that lower line. We were in a meeting with him the other day, and he absolutely does not like riding in line. He says, it's boring. I don't want to do that. It's hard, but he doesn't like it. So watch for him to dive to the bottom in that 18 car. I believe he'll start it, and his teammate Matt Kenseth is only a couple cars back. He's probably going to join him. Could get a little fun here.
Yeah, they got to get up. You got to get up there and help him, though. He can't drop down by himself, or he'll be behind Matt Kenseth.
There's Kenseth's number 20, the new hire at Joe Gibbs Racing for 2013. And he's just 2 spots behind Kyle Busch with Marcus Ambrose in between. Let's go up to 3rd place. Race rookie and grandson of team owner Richard Childress, Austin Dillon.
The 18 is 2 back behind the 31, and he looks antsy. He'll make something try to happen here before long. I'll just keep you posted.
Well, I think that pretty much supports what Michael was anticipating.
Now, you know what I like about that? Everybody knows that he's the one that's going to make something. Michael knows, and Dylan knows. Everybody knows.
There's over 100,000 people in this grandstand
they
that
all know. That's
Kyle
why they
Busch,
love him.
Wild thing as he was in his younger days, he will make something happen. "20 laps complete. Jeff Gordon leading. Aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. 8 cars by themselves with a pack of 4 led by Paul Menard trying to run down the front group.
We've been watching those 4 drivers, and they have tightened up. They've started running the bottom of the racetrack. In the last 2 or 3 laps, they've been about a half a second quicker than that top 8.
Watch that front group. They are starting to compress when they come up off the corner. Particularly, I noticed more off turn 4, but I believe their cars are tightening up, and they're having to squeeze up out of the throttle just a little bit, and it's causing that front group to have to lift, and that's allowing those 4 back there behind them to come on like a freight train.
They're going to be there in another half a lap to 3/4 of a lap. They are really coming, but look at them right at the bottom of the track.
I love it, man. This is, folks, I've never had you don't know what it feels like to be in one of these things when it flips up into banking, and you're getting a chance to ride along just like the drivers do. That is an amazing piece of equipment right there. You try to tell people at home what it feels like. Well, this is what it looks like.
And Paul Menard is there. He, Jamie McMurray, Ricky Stenhouse, and Clint Boyer have caught the lead pack.
Same thing we saw with his teammate, Kevin Harvick in the 29. We're getting close to about halfway through this thing. Started running the bottom.
Matt?
And down in the one pit, Juan Pablo Montoya, teammate to Jamie McMurray, has climbed on top of the pit box. He's trying, like so many other drivers, not in this race, but in Duel 1, trying to learn as much as they can for Sunday's 500. Right now, he's hearing on the radio that McMurray is saying his car is just getting tighter and tighter as the run goes on. Look for a significant adjustment when they hit pit road for their stop.
Matt Kenseth and Paul Menard came so close to trading paint off turn 4. That was almost too close.
That's what I'm seeing off of turn 4 right now, Mike. These guys are looking like some of them are having to lift just a little wee bit, and that's really causing a bottleneck.
But that killed the momentum of Paul Menard in that group. You'll see it right here. Kenseth was trying to slide down in front of Menard, Darrell.
Well, you know, I've been watching. I've watched Matt Kenseth in the shootout or in the unlimited and watched him in practice. I watched him a day. He's having trouble getting people to work with him. I wonder why.
Well, that may have something to do with Friday's practice and what just went on right there.
I'm telling you. He's got a fast car. We've seen him make great moves in the car, but he just can't get anybody to want to help him.
The transfer spot right now belongs to David Reagan, and he is 4.5 seconds ahead of Dave Blaney, so no drama there. As Clint Boyer pulls alongside Paul Menard, this is for 9th place.
And you want to know how those 4 guys got behind? Well, this is how they got behind the first time.
Steve?
Mike, Mark Martin at the tail end of that first pack, he's saying that his car is a little tight on corner exit. We've heard that from several drivers.
Mark Martin in 8th.
And that's what happened to a lot of drivers in that first duel race. Again, we're about 4 or 5 laps shy of halfway.
And once again, it's 8 cars, a gap, 4 cars, a gap, and 4 more.
But look at these race cars. I mean, we know that that's a Chevrolet in the front. We can see that. We see that these are Chevrolets, that they're Toyotas, and that they're Fords. These are amazing race cars. I can't get over the job that the manufacturers and working with NASCAR have done with the identity of these cars.
Such a game changer, Darrell. You park this car next to its street-going counterpart, and they are appearing the same.
And you know what? Drivers, they like a good-looking race car. And they get excited. Everybody's excited about racing this thing. It's what I love. Makes me want to crawl up in one of them.
Hendrick Chevy teammates on point, Jeff Gordon and Casey Kane. Richard Childress Chevrolet teammates, Austin Dillon and Jeff Burton. Right behind them, then Kyle Busch's Toyota and Marcus Ambrose Ford. That's the first half dozen. Halfway in the Budweiser Duel at Daytona, Kyle Busch has made his move. He's gone down to the inside, and who went with him?
Nobody.
Yeah, because right now, even his teammate Matt Kenseth in the 20 stayed up top, so Kyle Busch in the 18 will be able to fall back in behind him.
Coming around off turn 4, how about a NASCAR on Fox Thursday afternoon? Rank it. complete 33 laps. 8th place Mark Martin has caught the lead pack, and he has brought Paul Menard, Ricky Stenhouse with him, along with Clint Boyer. This time it's Boyer down on the inside by himself.
That 27 car is obviously fast there. He's pulled groups up to the front, up to the lead pack there a couple of times. If he got somebody to go with him, I believe he could go somewhere.
Well, and I think while ago when he was pulling that group, had Matt Kenseth in the 20 not jumped down in front of him and busted him up, I think he would have pulled him a lot further up than he pulled him that first time.
9 cars in the lead pack. In about another lap here, it's going to be 16 of them. Ricky Stenhouse bringing that second group along.
Yeah, it's almost like Stenhouse in the 17, Boyer in the 15 lost touch with the front group, but here comes Jamie McMurray in the one that was pulling another 5 or 6 drivers with him up toward the front.
Remember, there will be one pit stop to complete the 60-lap distance. You can't go 60 on a tank of fuel. Will they stop under green, or will we have a caution? Danica Patrick on top of the hauler, looking on.
I think this year, her and Ricky running for a Rookie of the Year, running against each other, that's going to be something to keep an eye on all year long.
Yeah, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that 17. Of course, he's run 5 Sprint Cup Series races, but now he's going to be running full time, just like Danica Patrick will be.
Paul Menard's dropped down to the low side by himself. Will he pick up those 3 cars behind him and work his way back to the lead draft?
Yeah, it's tough sledding when you just get in that gap he's in right there. You're going to have some help to get back up there. Here comes Boyer.
We're only about 4, 5, 6 laps away from green flag pit stops. I keep thinking back to that first dual race. What really got Trevor Bayne in trouble was when he got in too hot, got knocked out in the infield grass, and then the front tires was forced to go with 4. Making a green flag pit stop here, Darrell, can be pretty treacherous.
Yeah, when we watch these guys practice their pit stops almost to a car, they lock up that right front coming off of the track on the pit lane, and several guys blew out right front tires like Trevor did.
That second pack a little more spaced car to car than the first pack, and up in turn 2 carrying a little more speed. Now pretty close to even.
It's about a mile-per-hour difference right there. It just keeps floating, but definitely that second pack with Menard, the 27's pulling them, they're not any quicker right now.
I think they just got to commit to that bottom. Last time I got up there and they all wanted to jump in line because they don't want to lose the draft, but I think if these guys that hang together, the 4 of them right there, and just push to the bottom and keep working it might work out for them.
Final transfer car now is Travis Kvapil in the 93. He is 8 seconds ahead of Dave Blaney.
Yeah, he's running completely by himself right now with no help. You can see him right there.
But with no challenges either.
Well, I think I go back to that first Budweiser Duel race, and the way these guys are bunched up, as long as you don't have a problem getting on pit road, I think there's no question. 2 right side tires and probably about a half a can of fuel.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to sit there and put fuel in the thing. You don't need that much fuel. Get you some tires and get enough gas, get to the end, and be done.
But it's one of those stops where so much riding on the driver's shoulders about how he gets on and off pit road.
Well, you've been running around here, Larry, and your brakes are cold, and you run quite a bit of brake here because you do have to make these fast pit stops. So inevitably, you lock that right front up and slide it. You're going to change that one. That's okay. You just don't want to mess that left front up.
Here comes Menard for 8th against Mark Martin. And Martin's getting help from his Michael Waltrip Racing teammate Clint Boyer up on the outside.
Now that could be a good little combination. Clint and Mark get together there, the 55 and the 15, see if they can go somewhere.
What a difference a year makes. Not only are these new Fords, Chevys, and Toyotas very recognizable at a distance, but the racing is so different. No longer do you need a partner to bump draft with, to get to, or stay at the front. It's pack racing. Whether single, double, or triple file, It's exciting to watch.
And we talked about teammates, and we got a lot of teammates up there in the top 6 or 7. You've got Jeff Gordon and Casey Kane, and you've got Austin Miller and Burton, who Burton now comes down to the bottom as we're starting to see some green flag pit stops.
Eric Almirola, fuel only. J.J. Yale, or rather Dave Blaney, right side tires. Same for Josh Wise.
Boy, this is going to be ugly.
Here they come.
All
by Jeff
over
Gordon.
each other. Oh, no.
And around goes Newman.
Newman spins. Did he hit the outside wall?
No, he saves it. Down to the apron.
We stay green.
Gordon, Kane, Dillon, Burton on pit road. Hermie.
Casey Kane hits his marks here. It'll be 2 right side tires. Sunoco fuel, no adjustments. Matt.
First live pit stop of the year for the 24 guys. Chassis adjustment. Gordon said the car was good at the beginning of the run, but then got tighter and tighter.
Pit road clears. We stay green as Ryan Newman limps around the apron down in turn number 1.
Yeah, he's got a right front tire down. If he goes very fast, that tire will come apart. Man, look at this. This is another.
Matt Kenseth leads him in, coming in hot. Got to get down to pit road speed along with Busch, Ambrose, and more. Steve.
And Mike, Matt Kenseth comes to a nice, clean stop right where he needed to. It looks like gas only for the 20 of Matt Kenseth. Matt.
And Steve, his teammate Kyle Busch, comes to a stop. Same game plan for Busch. Fuel only for the 18, and he's away.
Boyer also fuel only. Oh boy.
We'll just serve the penalty. Serve the penalty. Pass through, Eddie. Yeah.
That is Alan Gustafson to spotter Eddie DeHaan. Jeff Gordon was too fast entering pit road. He'll have to do a drive-through penalty.
That's certainly not what he wants to hear, but it's not what Casey Kane, his teammate, wants to hear, because look how far these 2 drivers are in front of everyone else. He's going to have no partner once Jeff Gordon hits pit road.
Let's go back and watch what happened to the 39 of Ryan Newman. He's at the back of that pack, back behind Jamie McMurray.
Yeah, he looked like he was thought he might gonna run over McMurray, cut back out onto the racetrack, and when he did, he spun the car out. Now he's got a right front tire flat, and he had to just creep around or he'll tear the whole front end off the car.
Ricky Stenhouse, Terry Labonte, too fast exiting pit road.
And that's an area where I know it's very difficult. You leave pit road down there, you leave that last pit box, you think you've cleared, but the line, the cone, is another pit box away, almost out on the racetrack. It's very easy to speed there.
So Gordon and Stenhouse have served their penalties. Ryan Newman has made it back to pit road without further incident, and we stay green with 18 laps to go.
Now the penalties they're serving is what we call a drive-through. They do not have to stop in their pit box. Just come down pit road, maintain that 55 miles per hour pit road speed.
But what a contrast. One of our most experienced drivers, he has a pit road penalty. Our rookie contender, Ricky Stenhouse, he has a pit road penalty. So it's no really rhyme nor reason. It's just overdriving the pits.
Let's set the stage with 17 laps to go. There you see Jeff Gordon getting back up to speed. We have the 3 Toyotas that are up there by themselves at the lead pack, and then you go back about 3.5 seconds back, 4 Chevrolets and a Toyota.
So now with Jeff Gordon out of the top 15 due to penalty, Travis Kvapil is on the bubble. Of the Budweiser Duel at Daytona is presented by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Brought to you by Sprint. Millions of fans, one family, only Sprint can feed them all. Join the family at sprint.com/speed. And by Toyota. Let's go places. 47 laps complete, 13 to go. 3 Toyotas were leading the pack. Busch, Boyer, and Mark Martin. They've been caught by Casey Kane. The green backgrounds in the position numbers indicate drivers who are locked into the Daytona 500 as of their running position right now. It's the top 15 cars in the race, not including the pole sitter, Jeff Gordon. He already has a spot in the 500. So that means with him up there, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who is 16th in line, is in the transfer spot.
Pull out. Kyle Busch the Toyotas, Clint Boyer and Matt Kenseth, and they got a pretty good gap. But man, did they ever get run down. And from what I felt from behind the wheel, I wanted tires. I think these tires are giving up. The cars are slipping around. So if you get tires, I believe there's a little bit of speed in them. And man, we saw the fastest speeds of Speed Week where these guys marched to the front. They ran over 200 miles an hour catching that front pack.
Tell you what I want. I want that 27 behind me, because he is, that 27 is fast. He looks like Kevin Harvick, the way he can run the bottom and he can run where he wants to. He's pretty fast.
Wow. They used Casey Kane up in the 5, and he just barely slid down in front of Jeff Burton in the 31. I think both of them had to check up.
Yeah, that was almost a mess.
Casey Kane, the number 5, has the fastest lap of the race. Now that pack has closed right up on the back of Clint Boyer, Steve.
And Clint Boyer, a little bit of a gamble here. We talked about risk reward. They took no tires on that stop. Consequently, they may not have gotten enough fuel in the car. You see Brian Paddock saying, save, save, save. We'll let you know when you can go.
Poor Boyer. That's all he ever hears at the end of every race.
Even in a 150-mile race.
Man, we're just running 150 miles.
Now 3 cars behind that is rookie Austin Dillon, driving the number 33 Chevrolet. Hermie.
Well, Mike, when the 33 of Dillon came to pit road, they got 2 right side tires and a track bar adjustment. His car was too loose. They had him holding on to the back of the 31 of Jeff Burton. Now he has passed the 31. He's hanging on to the back of the 5. Very impressive run so far for Austin Dillon.
Absolutely.
And Mike, I mentioned Matt Kenseth a little bit ago, and like he was having trouble getting people to work with. But think about this. His longtime spotter, Mike Kalanoff, the only spotter he's ever had, he's only ever driven for the Roush organization. And so he and Jimmy Finning have been together for a long time. He is in whole new surroundings. And I think Matt's just going through some adjustments.
Darrell, it just appears that they keep searching around right now, because I think we documented it in the first duel. You cannot wait to the last lap or the last corner. You better be figuring things out now.
Well, we're seeing these fast speeds, Larry, because the track temp's gone down, the ambient temp's gone down, and these cars are liking it.
Guys, don't you think it's interesting? We saw Jeff Gordon leading the pack. He liked the high side. Kyle Busch has dropped to the bottom and led him for several laps. But man, there's a lot going on behind these guys. Matt Kenseth, big push to Clint Boyer. He gets around Kyle Busch. Which way will Kenseth go? He stays on the high side. This is what we've been waiting for. These guys to really mix it up.
Well, Clint Boyer got clearance on, he didn't get clearance. He got half a car length on Kyle Busch and just stalled out in the low lane.
Clear behind him, quick. Get up there, get up there, get up there, get up there, get up there. Quick, quick, quick,
Oh,
quick.
that was great move. Great job by the spotter to get him in that hole right there, because that was close.
Well, and you would think also probably Mark Martin, his teammate, that 55, give him a little bit of a break there.
If I was going to squeeze in front of somebody, I would hope it'd be Mark Martin.
Josh Wise now in the last transfer spot, 16th, as he and Ricky Stenhouse draft together.
And he had to start at the rear of the field because of an engine change before this dual race.
Now the leaders are going to inhale them in a couple of laps here and put them a lap down, but fear not. In the first race, David Gilliland got a lap down, but when the caution came out and he got the free pass, got back in position and raced his way into the 500.
Well, we're coming to 6 to go, so this thing is winding down here, and I'm thinking that Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth are pretty happy where they are. I think that the wild card is going to be the 5 and the 33, and if they decide to try to make a move together.
Travis Kvapil right here. Kvapil still racing for a spot in the 500. Right now he is 1 position away. So Josh Wise, if he can tack on to these leaders, he might be able to draft right up and battle for the bubble spot.
And just look, I mean, we've got 2 Toyotas, 2 Chevrolets, and 2 more Toyotas. So the 2 Chevys, if they're going to do anything, they're going to have to do it together.
Kvapil tried, didn't work. Larry couldn't quite hang with the leaders.
Well, there's one more player back there that he might can hook on to, Paul Menard in that 27. Right now, Paul is by himself about 5 car lengths behind Travis Kvapil.
Kvapil's target is that white number 35 of Josh Wise. Down on the inside behind Ricky Stenhouse. Wise is in the last transfer spot. 5 to go as they cross the line.
Looks like Travis Quapple just can't hang on to anybody when they go by.
It's been 4 years since Kyle Busch won one of these 150-mile qualifying races.
Yeah, you see right there 191 miles per hour, 190. Those guys up there in that big pack, 8 to 10 miles per hour quicker than Travis Quapple.
And Larry, you know, I told you for somebody I wanted to slide in front of, I wouldn't mind it being Mark Martin. For somebody I really would want to try to pass on the last lap, it'd be Kyle Busch. There's some thinking going on right now, boys. Everybody's sitting here trying to figure out, what am I going to do?
We know you can't wait till the last lap, Darrell. When do you make your move?
Well, you know, down here in the past, you come off turn 4, you get a side draft, you had a shot. Doesn't look like that's happening this time. When do you make your move? When somebody says they'll make it with you. You got to have some help.
Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth are former adversaries. Busch with Toyota, previously Chevrolet. Kenseth's been in a Ford all this time. This is their first speed week as teammates.
I know one thing. We talk about, are there team orders, and most guys would say no. Right now in this race, I'd say no. I would say that Casey Kane would be happy to go with Matt Kenseth if he decides to make a move.
And will Casey Kane take a chance with that rookie behind him, Austin Dillon, the other Chevrolet in this group?
I don't think he can, Larry, because the two Toyotas behind him will close the door on them, and they'll be hung out to dry. This move's got to come from Matt Kenseth. If Matt makes the move, Casey will go with him.
2 Toyotas, 2 Chevys, 2 more Toyotas in that lead pack of 6 as we come down to the final 2.5 laps.
Think about what Matt Kenseth just told Steve Burns before the race. I'm going to win this race.
Well, we know, we've said all week he's got a fast car. We've seen him make great moves and have showed a lot of speed. Just hadn't been able to get in the right spot. But he's in the right spot right now. And you know what Matt has? He has winning experience.
Yes, he does.
Michael, these cars are about a car length or half a car length apart with wind buffeting in between them. It looks like traffic out on I-4, but how white-knuckled is this right now?
Mike, they're running 200 miles an hour. Look at that big wall right beside them. It is very tough to hold your line. The cars are wanting to push, especially, you see how high Kyle drifted on the way off? That's because the car is not handling properly. They've got all they want right now.
White flag, boys. Here we go. Here goes the 5.
At 33, Austin Dillon goes with him.
That's
Kane
what
to
it's
the
going to
inside,
take.
Boyer to the outside, and Kyle Busch comes down to the inside to cover.
And now Matt Kenseth in the 20, he's going to be the real loser. Goes all the way back to almost the back of this pack. I don't think Kane is finished yet.
Didn't see that coming.
Tell you what, that 5,
Do that same thing at that same run, halfback 33 and 15.
The 33 needs to get a little tighter on the 5 if they're going to make a charge.
Casey Kane, will he have room on the bottom? Inside Kyle Busch. Here they come to the flag. Busch, Kane, Dillon, Boyer, single file, Kane to the bottom, runs out of real estate and time. Samantha celebrates Kyle Busch's second win in the Budweiser Duel. And at the last transfer spot, 1 lap back, Dave Blaney pulls up into 15th and Josh Wise 16th. Moves to the Daytona 500.
Make the Daytona 500, including the purse today, it's worth a little over $250,000 to these drivers.
Nice run for the Riverside, California driver. He is in the Great American Race. As Kyle Busch beats Casey Kane to the line by 9/100ths of a second. And a caution-free race that averages just shy of 194 miles an hour with a pit stop.
You know, the way this young man, Kyle Busch, ended 2012, the run he had in the chase, even though he was not in the chase, I just feel like he's going to have a good year this year, starting it off on the right foot, winning this Budweiser Duel race.
What do you have, 7 top 5 finishes in the chase, I think it was.
And the number of laps he led was unbelievable.
Led the most laps in a number of races, so great win for Kyle.
And the 2 drivers who go to victory lane today are known as 2 of the most aggressive drivers in the sport, Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch.
And I don't think they're on each other's Christmas card list either.
Probably not. Toyota, Chevy, Toyota, Toyota, the top 5 with the first Ford. Nice drive for David Reagan, who came up for 10th spot ahead of Marcus Ambrose in 11th. You have just seen the 2nd fastest Budweiser Duel race in history.
Wow, that's big.
193.95 miles an hour. And here is your order of finish. Top 10 drivers race in.
Good run for David Reagan in that 34 top 10 finish.
Along with the next 6 drivers.
Pretty nice recovery by Jeff Gordon to come back and be 12th after a pit road penalty.
And unofficially, it'll be Mike Bliss. We'll be going home from this Budweiser Duel. 45-car entry, 43-car field for the 500. Hermie?
Well, a happy Austin Dillon, getting some congratulations from crew. It's not a bad job for a rookie in your first duel. Came home 3rd and a solid ride for the Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, after that first one, we still weren't in it. So got a little nervous before that and just stayed in it all day and rode that top line. I ran behind Casey the whole time. I was waiting for a Chevy to get in the victory lane right there, but just couldn't get enough of a run at Kyle. His car was really good. But I want to thank Honey Nut Cheerios for giving me this opportunity, Tag Heuer Eyewear, and Advocare, man. This is awesome feeling, and I'll always remember the first one.
Talk about your expectations now. You've now gone from trying to make the race to you got a pretty good ride right here.
Yeah, we got a good hot rod. Just this thing's all about being there at the end, go into conservation mode early, and then get them at the end.
That's Austin Dillon. He is in the Daytona 500.
Wow, 22 years old, and he'll be in the race on Sunday.
That's a young man you're going to be hearing about for a long time.
I think so.
Lots of talent.
Matt?
A big congratulations from Stephen Lane. Congratulations to you. You're in the Great American Race.
Oh, man, it's awesome. It's a huge amount of stress lifted off our shoulders. You know, we had to play a pretty safe race there just because of what we were trying to do. We knew if we just stayed out of trouble and ran our race, we'd get in the transfer there. And I just can't thank Bob Jenkins and Jerry Freeze and all the guys at Front Row Motorsports and Blockbuster and Cajun Industries for coming on. We got sponsors for this race, and we're ready to go do it.
For your fans at home, how stressful was today?
It's a lot of stress, man, because you kind of see how the race gets out of sequence there, and guys lose the draft, and it only takes one mistake on pit road there, and you can put yourself in a pretty tough position for trying to make it. So the guys did a good job on pit road, and we did what we had to do, so it's pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I think a lot of our questions about how this car will race have been answered. I'm really looking forward to Sunday's Daytona 500.
I think it's racy. I mean, we saw a lot of side-by-side racing in that first race. We saw a lot of good drafting in the second race. Guys might want to work on their pit stops, getting in and getting off, but other than that, I thought it was a great race.
Can Kevin Harvick become the first driver in the 35-year history of the Sprint Unlimited race to win the Sprint Unlimited, the Budweiser Duel, and the Great American Race, the Daytona 500?
Good question. Kyle Busch ready to climb out. He has won his 2nd Budweiser Duel, and Steve Burns is there to greet him.
Kyle Busch, much better result than Saturday night. What did you learn out here today for the Daytona 500?
It's hard to pass the leader, you know, just stay out front. When you can get out front, you can run pretty good and just try to hold everybody off behind you, you know. There wasn't enough lane-by-lane racing, I'd call it here, but it's awesome to be able to put the M&M's Camry in victory lane. You use those tools to your advantage as best you can when you learn what's going on when the race is around you. And can't say enough about everybody at M&M's, Interstate Batteries, Toyota, Sprint. Thanks, Sprint, for being here, and appreciate those guys. It's great to refresh here in victory lane with a Monster Energy, and cool the fans come out here to watch the Budweiser Duels today. We appreciate them and everybody out there on TV.
Yeah, a huge crowd here at Daytona International. Kyle, were there any moves that you made, maybe trying to drop down to the bottom, that did not work?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we saw a lot of that with the 27 car trying to make the bottom come up. Never could get it to go, but I tried it there that one time. Everybody was checking up, getting into the corners, and I knew there wasn't a gap for me to get back in, but I was like, well, maybe if I side draft to 31 enough, I can pull him back and I can get up in line and start making moves that way, but it didn't work like that. So I didn't have much to lose. You know, I only had 2 cars that were behind me to single me out, to push me backwards. So I figured, what the heck, I might as well give it a try, see what happens. And coming to pit road there, that's what won us the race, you know, just being able to beat those guys, over-braking them, getting into the pits, and not sliding any tires, so we could take that advantage to not have to take any tires under the pit stop. Dave Rogers made a great call there to just take fuel only, get us out front, and had a great teammate behind me pushing me with Matt Kenseth there at the end, and just trying to go down in order. I know he didn't get second, so he could start behind me into 500, but those guys behind him got a little bit antsy.
Yeah, that new kid, Kenseth.
Yeah, something like that.
Let's go to Hermie.
Well, I've got that teammate, Matt Kenseth. Kyle Busch giving you some props in victory lane for helping him get the victory lane, but Darrell Waltrip says to have a faster car as you got, you're sure not getting a lot of help on the racetrack. How are you going to fix that between now and Sunday?
I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to do all the right things. I saw the 5 coming. I knew he was going to try the bottom. Typically, the top's been a little quicker. And so I stayed up with my teammate there trying to help him out. And I knew the 15 and 55 were back there, and the 5 went under, and I knew the 33 go with him. And I figured I'd stall him out, and them guys would come behind me. And at the last minute, Clint went left, and I was the only one sitting out there, so I knew I was in trouble. But overall, we got some pretty good speed. I just gotta think through my moves a little bit better and try to make the right moves. I probably should have made the move on Kyle before the 5 could get the move on me and try to get the win there. I just waited, I guess, a little too long. So we'll keep working out. We got a really fast car, and hopefully we'll do the right things on Sunday.
That's Matt Kenseth, still learning how to draft with this car. Mike?
Well, he's the defending champion of the 500. Kyle Busch celebrates in victory lane along with Kevin Harvick earlier in today's Budweiser Duel at Daytona.
It was an unusually quiet season for Kyle Busch last year, making it to victory lane only once. He ends the day in victory lane today as dual race winner number 2. So Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, today's winners. So we learned a lot. Chris Devoda, Jeff Hammond, Michael Waltrip. The big question, of course, what did we learn for the Daytona 500? We're students too. What do we know?
All right, driver.
We know there's a couple of distinct lines. You can run high and have success, and you can run low and have success. And remember, we're going to double up the size of the field, so we're going to have people doing both of those things and trying to figure it out. You can't wait till that last lap to make a pass, it doesn't look like. We saw that not work Saturday night in the shootout, and it didn't work in the race here today either. So I like planning my move early and hoping, like heck, like Darrell said, that somebody goes with me. I need some help.
And if you got these cars too tight, Krista, they're not going to run off the corner down that back straightaway like you need to. They'll be able to make a pass. So I think it's just something as far as crew chief's concerned, very concerned about how this racetrack was going to be today. It didn't get hot and slick like we expected. So, again, valuable information for Sunday. We'll be playing the weather card once again come Sunday morning.
That's what I was just going to say. It's going to be a lot different handling come Sunday. Jeff Gordon was on the pole for dual race number 2. Here you see Ryan Newman falling to the back of the field early.
Yeah, he had damage on that car right there. Fell like a rock early on.
Check out Matt Kenseth. He's trying to block the low line, and what he did, he successfully did just that, slowed their momentum.
But then Michael called this shot, Kyle Busch going low early, but nobody goes with him.
No, but I told you right now, this is going to be the deciding point with the pit stop, and this is what happened to Ryan Newman. Coming there a little too hot, he's going to run the back of somebody, spins the 39 car, ends his day.
And that was ugly for Ryan Newman, but this is equally as ugly. Jeff Gordon having to come back to pit road for speeding on pit road, a very costly penalty.
Yeah, but Kyle Busch, like you said, it was so hard to pass, so his crew helping him as well. He was able to win the race. And let's go back to the Jeff Gordon pit stop, though. That was coming on pit road. He had the issue, and he had led 38 laps prior to that. This is the exchange between the team of the 24 and David Hoots of NASCAR in race control.
24, 2 fast intersections, 4 and 5, pass through.
Got a speed ticket entering section 4 and 5. Saying that I got one? Yes. Okay, well, we got a major problem with the tach, and I was way under. All right, guys, what do you want me to do? We'll just serve the penalty.
And Michael, the thing is right now, as far as the driver's concerned, a lot of times, can the tachometer be off? Could that really been the problem, or was he literally just not paying attention?
Well, you've got lights, and they're bright. If you have green lights, you're good. If they turn red, you're bad. Your job is to push that as far as you can when you're trying to win this race. In my case, just trying to make it, I had a bunch of green lights, and I was being very conservative.
And the thing is right now, when you talk about pit stops, that took him out of a potential opportunity to win this duel today because he definitely had a fast race car.
And we know if passing is difficult, those pit crews even more important. So let's take a look at the starting grid for the 55th running of the Daytona 500. As we said, Danica Patrick, Jeff Gordon, they were locked into the front row if they kept their race cars intact, which they did. But we see a lot of big names lurking not far behind.
That 29 car right now has got my attention. He is definitely the class to field, at least early part of Speed Weeks.
And don't forget Greg Biffle. That's a really fast Ford. So I think you're looking at Harvick and Biffle as two guys you're going to have to beat on Sunday.
And you mentioned Harvick. How about his teammate Paul Menard? They're in row 8. He was very fast today. Michael, you even said, if Paul Menard's behind me, that's a good thing.
Yeah, you like to have fast cars pushing, and there's just a few of them after all the racing we've done so far this week. You kind of put a circle around them and know they're going to be tough.
Yeah, well, somebody's going to be tough. Even though he didn't have the day we were looking for and expecting out of him, Dale Earnhardt Jr. back there in row 10. He may be starting back there, but don't look for him to stay back there very long.
And further back in the field, there you see some of the guys there. We see Michael right there in row 15.
I like row 15 a lot. That's a good place to start.
I'm just not used to seeing you in the 26. I keep missing that number.
We talked about some of the drama. Scott Speed able to race his way in, as well as Josh Wise. And these are some of the guys who've had trouble. Carl Edwards, man, has he had a tough
I mean, he's been involved in 5 crashes since he's been to Daytona. I mean, Trevor Bayne, you can pretty much tell the despair in his voice and the look after he crashed his car. And here's some guys who were able to get in. Terry Labonte, the veteran, able to qualify in row 21, and J.J. Elliott. How about Michael McDowell right there? Guy used to drive for you, making it in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, his car has K-Love on it. That makes me feel good. I'm glad the K-Love car.
You like the love?
I love love.
That was the Budweiser Daytona 500 starting grid. There you saw the 2 drivers who failed to make the race, Mike Bliss and Brian Keselowski. So Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, they're our winners today. Of course, these races don't pay any points, but you learn a whole lot for Sunday's Daytona 500. And Jeff Gordon has said, if you're going to win on Sunday, you really have to race in these races to know what you have now more than ever with this new car.
You know, Michael, I got a question for you right here. We talked about all the drama and all the concern about getting through the 150. Guess what, buddy? You still got some practice sessions.
Well, what I love about today's race, I got to run a lot of green flag laps. We made a pit stop. We understood what 2 tires did. We watched Kyle Busch not take any tires. He won the race on the same 4 tires he started with. So if I'm Kyle Busch, I'm just going to wipe that baby down and be ready for Sunday. That thing is fast. It handled well. A lot of people were experiencing a tight condition in their cars. The front end not wanting to turn in the corners. So there'll be a lot of other guys that need some work.
Well, I know a guy who may be a player on Sunday. That's Casey Kane. He's with Matt Yoakum.
What a battle to the finish. 4 Toyotas, 2 Chevys. You made your move. Did you make it at the right time, or should you made it a little earlier?
Well, maybe a lap earlier, but I felt like that's where Austin was pushing the most, and I could feel the air change. But the lap before, we didn't have a good push going through there, so I wanted to do it with 2 and see if we could do a little better, but it worked at 1 to go, and we just couldn't get to Kyle. But it was still a great run for our Farmers Insurance Chevrolet SS. 1 stop, and it was a really good 2-tire stop, and we learned some things for Sunday, so I'm excited about where we're sitting right now.
You learned some things, so you have a really good feel about what you got from this race car and maybe score your first 500 win on Sunday?
Well, to win a 500, that'd be amazing, but it would be very difficult at the same time. So we're just keep trying to get better at that point, but we've gained a lot since the sprint race on Saturday night to where we're at right now, and I feel like if we gain just a little bit more, we'll be in the hunt come Sunday afternoon.
Casey Kane second, chasing a first on Sunday.
And you saw on his face to win the Daytona 500, the big smile already starting. Of course, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, they are your winners in today's Budweiser Duel. Who will win on Sunday? We will wrap things up coming up. The preparation is not over yet. Still a lot more to come here at Daytona Speed Weeks. Continues later tonight with Camping World Truck Series practice right here on Speed. Tomorrow, 2 sessions of Sprint Cup Series practice, followed by Camping World Truck Series qualifying and racing, also right here on Speed. You're home for all the action in Daytona. And then on Saturday, we've got the final Sprint Cup Series practice session. all the drivers will be tense and alert. Our coverage of Daytona Speed Weeks leading up to the Daytona 500 continues all weekend long on Speed and Fox. Well, NASCAR's version of musical chairs is over. Now for drivers, it's time to anticipate, lose sleep, hope, and dream that their name will be the one everyone is talking about for the 55th running of the Daytona 500 on Fox at 12 p.m. Eastern. So far, the story has been Danica. She has the best seat for Sunday's race. Does she have the best car? And it's a new car, some drivers with new combinations. We still have a lot more to come here on Speed. We've now joined John Roberts over at the Speed Stage. Thanks for dueling with us.